Social media has changed the way people make decisions. Before buying a product, hiring a company, or trying a new service, people are researching, comparing options, and looking for brands they trust. That's why the most successful brands aren't leading with the sales pitch. They're leading with education. Today, we're talking about why educational content has become one of the most effective marketing strategies and how brands can use content, storytelling, and thought leadership to build trust before making a sale. Joining me is Daniel Sheres, a global commercial leader who has helped launch innovative products across international markets and understands what it takes to educate audiences, build credibility, and drive adoption in a crowded marketplace. So welcome.
Thank you for having me, Kassie. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a mouthful about what you do. So tell us a little bit about your background and your current role.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the veterinary space actually for about 9 years now on launching innovative products, as you mentioned, globally. I've had the opportunity to be able to work in the veterinary oncology space and also working with SaaS products and a few other biologics from there. It's been a wild ride to really see how we're able to get brands go from one reference lab or one small area within the United States and how it's then been adopted on a global basis as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we've met from being members at General Provision.
Yep.
And we have some clients that are SaaS. We have some clients that are also in the pet industry. So it's always interesting to see how a lot of these, different products also like intersect and how a lot of these same marketing strategies apply, across a lot of different levels. I think people forget sometimes like it's not so different than what other people are doing.
Right. Absolutely. And as you've seen, and I think recently, you also became a dog mom.
Yes.
So being a dog mom, you understand what individuals enjoy and what kind of life they want to create for their dogs that are now no longer just part of the backyard, but they sleep in the same bed as you and they're really part of your everyday activity. Everyone wants to have the best life they possibly can for their dogs, and they're willing to be able to pay the money for it. And they're also able to really see what brands they trust.
Yeah.
And that they want to be able to offer for their dogs to provide them with the best, longest life they can have.
And it's so true because even I've only had my dog for 2 months. It feels longer that I've had Teddy, but immediately I had him and I was getting all of these ads and all of these brands and like even companies I never heard of now I'm hearing of, and all the medicines he has to be on. And I was like inundated, and I realized it's another world. It's another, area, segment of audience, and people do have money to spend on their pets. So also it's a great place to be for marketers and business owners to also kind of, hone in on that market. I feel like a lot of people, maybe 20 years ago, 30 years ago, they thought like, you have a dog, you feed it some food, you let it outside, and that's it. And the whole market has totally shifted and changed.
Yeah, there was a report out recently that people would spend more money and actually take their dogs to the vet than they would actually whenever they might be sick and they might need to go to a human doctor.
I believe it. I believe that. So you helped launch innovative products, not just nationally, but globally. What did that experience teach you about educating audiences?
I think it's important to note that no matter where you are in the world, people really crave the education before they actually go buy a product, right? People buy from other people, but also they really buy from people who they trust and they understand. So I think if you focus on the education first, it's probably the most important factor. So that way they understand, why is this important to me?
Yeah.
Why is this something that I actually need? And then it makes the sale a lot easier instead of just throwing something out there and hoping it sticks.
Yep.
And to your point, when you've got inundated with all these products, how much do you actually need those products? Or is it somebody just trying to sell you something?
Exactly.
And it's coming up on your algorithm.
Exactly. I mean, even down to the harness that I bought him, it was like the education of, this one is going to have like an anti-pull technology and it has like a bungee cord so it's softer on your joints and like all of these things. Then I was like, oh, then that's really cool. Not just this product looks cute.
Right.
So it does really matter. And I think in an AI world that we're in and we're kind of heading towards, people don't know who to trust. And it's not just enough to be like, buy this product because so-and-so does. Not even influencers are pushing the needle anymore. People want to be really informed about what they're buying.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're able to create that realm of education and you're consistently putting that type of material out, people are more focused on what are you mentioning,
yes,
and then the products come afterwards, rather than just something that pops up and
right,
you're hoping to be able to get it. And especially to your point with a lot of the AI that's out there, Nobody knows how effective that product is, if it's actually doing what it should or should not say.
Right.
But when you have an industry expert who has been in the field for a long time, and we can talk on this later on, there's some discrepancies on what that industry leader actually is or is not, depending on their past experiences on how effective that product actually is, or if it's just something that they're trying to sell as well. So it's important to be able to dig deeper into those educators as well before you make that informed decision.
Definitely. And I want to shift to how have social media platforms really changed the way that brands educate consumers?
I think before, consumers would walk into a box store like a Petco or a PetSmart, and you would ask the clerk there on what would be the best thing for your dog. So in Teddy's case, what
Right.
would be the best leash for him, what would be the best harness for him. And now you probably did a lot of that planning before you even walked in the store and actually bought that. So I think in the world that we are today, you can get a lot more information online first of what you're looking for, and
Yeah.
then choose who you want to go buy it from afterwards.
It definitely is one of the first touch points. And even when I was looking up insurance, so insurance for him, it's not a cute field to look up. It's not, an exciting thing, but then I'm looking for reviews, then I'm going on social media and seeing what people are saying about it, experience. So I think you're right. It is one of the first touch points. I think growing up, a lot of times we had commercials, catalogs. I remember getting catalogs in the mail, circling what I want, showing it to my parents. Like that's really a thing of the past.
Yeah, Toys R Us catalog used to get all of us.
Yes. And I also loved an American Girl catalog.
Yes, of course.
Oh, yeah. Like, really? Did I need to read all the ins and outs of what these dolls came with? No, but I wanted all of them.
Right. And I think it's important to note that that's how marketers used to work. And now you have such a short amount of attention to be able to get who your target audience is. And that's where the education standpoint comes in. If you're able to educate them, then they are the ones who are circling that
Yes.
virtually. And they say they want this specific product because they're aware of what it does, the benefits of it, and everything else.
Definitely. And as we were talking about some trust-based marketing, thought leadership, educational content, and just building credibility online, how can brands measure whether their educational content is actually working?
I think there's a couple different ways. For an industry that I'm in the veterinary industry, for example, we've had a lot of opportunities where when we actually then go to trade shows, people come up and they say, oh, we saw such and such talk about your product and we wanted to use it immediately. So they had those thought leaders that we had worked with that were providing that education, not even selling the specific product, but this is why they use it in their practice. And that built that automatic credibility from there.
Yeah, I think verbally is probably a stronger gauge than just views sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. And you can very easily go and look at what the reviews are on your products online,
Yep.
and you can see what other people are saying about it.
Yep.
So I think it's also important to look at those reviews as well. And then if there's something that's negative or something that seems unclear, you can adapt your messaging accordingly
Yes.
with the individuals that you work with to try to be able to address those points face on instead of just letting them sit there and then ruin the reputation that you may have already built.
Definitely. And as you guys are looking at this educational content that you all are putting out, are you looking at which videos people are watching all the way through? Which ones are getting people to stop and comment and engage? What is kind of your big marker there?
I think the commenting and engaging is really it. A lot of times we can get the majority of the information up front. If they stay through the video, it might be where can I actually go get this product? But a lot of times we see what that engagement looks like. And when they're commenting on, should I use this for my dog based upon how old they are? Or, we had this specific result come back. Is this what was supposed to happen?
Yeah.
Can you give some more information? That's how you know you're getting that awareness and people are really staying engaged.
Yeah, it's showing intent.
Right.
It's not just a like.
Yes, exactly.
What are you seeing in your industry that makes someone stop scrolling and pay attention?
I think leading with authority is really helping. And in our industry, leading with authority are veterinarians who are practicing day in, day out. And they're showing, this is what we do on a daily basis. I think a lot of the videos that you might see from veterinary hospitals, for example, is almost like a day in the life of the veterinarian. Or have you seen this type of patient? Here's something that you should keep in mind for this type of patient, this type of breed. In the industry that I happen to lie in, which is more in veterinary oncology, we're talking about cancer screening. Right. So a video that talks about, are you aware that golden retrievers, sorry for all the golden retriever owners out there, are one of the highest risk for cancers. And that's why we recommend screening. it's really engaging. It gets them brought in
Yeah.
because they say this relates to me, and what more do you have to tell me so that way I can be ready for whatever's to come.
Well, and that makes sense. I see it even in the health industry, or even like we see it like with a toothpaste commercial. It's I'm a dentist and I recommend, or I'm a doctor and this is what I, think. And people are going to lean into that versus just a brand being like, hey, use this. So I get what you're saying in that sense. I think health, whether it's pet, human, people want to lean into who it is first. I think that is going to get people to like, I want to say like appreciate or actually be like, oh, now I'll listen versus it's not some Joe Schmo that we created on AI video saying to buy the product.
Right. And consumers are not stupid either. So they know when it's AI, they can kind of tell.
Yes.
And even to your point, when you were just mentioning doctors on some of the doctors and dentists, when it's 4 out of 5 dentists recommend that,
Yes.
That's really skewed analytics or really skewed data. Because that could be 4,000 out of 5,000, or that could be
10. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So it's much more important, I think, when you bring that real life factor on, hey, we're in the hospital. This is what I do here.
Yes.
It helps not only help out for the hospital, but also help advertise those additional products. So when certain brands are looking to work with these groups, it's important to really vet those individuals on what type of personality and what type of background do they bring in
Yes.
to the videos and what you're actually looking for that content.
That makes sense. And even on TikTok, I see like the other day I was watching a video about something about training, and it was like, as a vet tech, this is what I see. Right. Or even see like as a groomer, this is what I recommend. Like people are really leading with, and I think myself too, if I say, oh, as a social media agency owner, like, oh, now I want to know what Kassie thinks, not just, hi, I'm Kassie and this is what I think. You kind of have to set that tone.
Yep.
And then people will, they'll respect it more.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So kind of going on the opposite, what mistakes do you see brands make on social media when trying to educate their audience?
I think you kind of really started off the conversation there as well on when they go for a basic introduction and they're not bringing value to what they're actually talking to. On the key point that we're talking here today about education, if you're able to start off with a good hook, then you're going to get them involved and they're going to say, okay, let's watch the end and understand what they have to say.
Yes.
But if it's something that's simple and it's just, have you heard about this product, or, a coming up with something that's not actually a problem, then that's when people start looking away. And we see it quite often, I think more so when people are trying to test how effective their product may be. Because it is an old technique that, if you're trying to launch a new product, you kind of put a video out there and you see what the orders might be when they come in, but you don't actually have a physical product. And a lot of times, especially in the medical space, these are made up problems, right? There's not actually a huge issue for that, or there hasn't been studies done on that showing that this is something affecting half of the dogs that are out there.
Yeah.
So it's important to know what videos are actually providing real education compared to what videos are just trying to sell you something new and see if they can get away with that type of information.
That's interesting. And I also like that you brought up like the hook, because I had a client recently who they are definitely in an older generation, and they had these fabulous videos made. They probably spent a ton of money, and it was like this long intro and it had like the soft music, and then they went into the video, and I pretty much told them like, that has to go at the end. I was like, that cannot open the video. You lost me in the first 10 seconds of this like beautiful design and music. It's just not working on social media.
Right.
Like just get to you talking and then we'll put that at the end. And they did. And they're seeing, the view rates have been big difference because they were dropping off so fast. People like, no one wants to sit through, fluff basically.
Yeah. The old Sarah McLachlan videos that used to come on.
Oh, they're still out there.
They're still out there.
Oh, yes.
But they work very effectively for TV.
Right.
Because you're sitting there and you're not expecting it. You're waiting for the commercial to end.
The sad faces and yes.
Yeah. And you hear the music and you automatically know what it is. It's not as effective on social media where the attention span is 2 to 5 seconds to be able to get their attention.
Yeah. They even say right now that we have a shorter attention span than a goldfish. So it's the sad world we're in right now.
Right. Absolutely.
So how do you, speaking of our short attention spans, how do you take a complex topic and make it social media friendly?
I think this is something that we deal with on a consistent basis because, again, cancer screening, oncology, or even just any other pet product that's out
Yeah.
there, there's a lot of science that goes behind it. So what we really always have to do is sit down and break it down to layman's terms as much as possible to what can the general public understand.
Yeah.
And a lot of that could be that initial hook on, 1 out of 4 dogs may be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. From there, you're then able to dive a little bit deeper into, are we talking about a specific breed, or
Yeah.
why you should then look at something further. And it's very easy to do that with a lot of other medical topics out there. But you start with what's that initial problem. And then from there, you're able to dive into what the solution is. When
Yeah.
you dive straight into the solution, that's when you lose a lot of individuals and they just can't follow what you're trying to offer to them.
It's true. And I think a lot of people forget like bite size is enough.
Yep.
Like short-term attention spans, there's a lot going on. Social media, people want to use it to like escape. So if you're going to use social media to also find your audience and appeal to people, sometimes bite size is enough. And I think a lot of times, especially, people who are within that company and breathing, literally eating and breathing their product, they want to put everything out there in one. And then it's up to us as marketers to be like, that's great, but let's make that like a couple steps, or let's break that down, or just that one piece is enough. And especially like I have a tech client, and what they do is sometimes like when they explain it, even I'm like that's a lot, or like that's not necessary for social media. Let's just take that one piece, put it on social. People want to learn more. Here's a link to the white paper. Here's a link to a conversation with, an expert. And it's just starting the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And, a lot of what I do also overlaps with the sales side. But what we typically see, unfortunately, is sales and marketing don't talk to each other.
Yeah.
And they think that one is better than the other. But really, if they're able to work together, as a salesman, when you walk in, you have a very short amount of time to get the attention span of whoever you're speaking to, whether it's the front desk person or you actually do get time with the doctor or the client. You have to have some quick bullet points that you can mention on here's what the product is and here's why it solves that solution.
Yes.
And you can take a lot of that information and use it within the same marketing. I'm sure you've seen this before, but there's a lot of times when the marketing individuals want to put everything on a page.
Yeah.
And they expect that one-page deal, or it should be a one-page deal, or it turns into a booklet.
Yep.
That information is not getting to the end user. And it's the same thing on social media. When you have a video that's 1 minute, that information is not going to get to that user at all. So if you can really condense it, hit on what those key, we call them unique selling propositions or unique selling points are, that will also help you improve your messaging from the sales side and from the marketing side.
Yeah, and I think people forget that marketing really can like lay up for the salespeople exactly what they need. And kind of vice versa in the sense of, say that sale doesn't go through or it's a longer sale process. People are wanting to, follow on the brand on LinkedIn or social media or email, and they're like following of what's happening and staying in tune. They might come back in that sales cycle and purchase later, and you're not losing them. It's all working, in tandem.
Yeah, that's what we've found to be the most successful with those commercial strategies. You have to hit them on all angles.
Yes.
That way they might hear about the product from a rep coming in. They follow you on social media. And then when that first case comes in or when that first example comes in, they say, hey, I remember this. And actually this aligns with exactly what I was looking at. Now I'm ready to buy. Could be 3 months down the road. Could be a year down the road. But they're then ready at that time. And then it works copacetically.
Exactly. And what advice would you give marketers struggling to create educational content consistently?
I think one of the key things you can do is listen to your users and really, interview them. Actually go, if you're able to find a way to be able to get them on a Zoom call or you're able to get them in person and talk to them. Everyone loves to help other people. It's part of our human nature. So if you go and you have someone who's consistently talking negatively about your product or they have some issues and you're able to reach out and you say, hey, listen, we want to make this the best product that's out there. Can you give us some more information as to how you would use it or what you want to see? That can then lay into what your marketing strategy looks like and how you can improve that overall product.
It's true. And I think a lot of times people get so bogged down of like, I have to create content. It needs to be educational. It needs to be amazing. And they don't know where to start when you really starting with who you have is kind of the easiest and best way. It's also a good way to keep it consistent. And I think even if people start to implement, whether it's, once a month that you're meeting with somebody, or once a quarter you're sitting down, or even at some of these conferences, when you just have say, hey, can I record this conversation? Take some of those clips and the points that they're saying and put it back. So I think a lot of us, when we're in the work, this is what we think sells or what we think is working, but sometimes it's hearing it from a different perspective. It's wait, I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah. A lot of products are created because the initial inventor or thought process behind it was we were trying to solve this problem.
Yes.
But how that product is actually then used in the mass market almost always is different. So being able to understand how it's really used allows you to be able to create that better marketing function. So we can say this is how you can use it based on what's actually criteria. And then here's how other people are using it and how you could use it effectively as well.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to put it. So we close out every episode with 2 questions with every guest. So it's your turn. What's your current favorite social media platform and why? It could be professionally, personally, both.
Yeah. I think Reels, I might be addicted to Reels, but
on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah. They do such a great job of just bringing up the algorithm of the videos that you want to see. And I think especially recently, I might be addicted to all the World Cup videos that I'm seeing.
Oh, so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are very addicting. And people don't realize you can actually adjust your algorithm in the settings of your Instagram. So if for some reason you liked a video because it was just a nice video, but you're I don't need to see 100 of those, you can actually adjust your algorithm in the settings tab. Okay. But they are addicting. And I think the fact that it's a full screen experience, it's hard to get distracted from other stuff on your phone because you're watching that one video and then next. And then World Cup content has been just so enjoyable, especially seeing a lot of the Europeans experience American culture for the first time. Yes. Hilarious.
Yeah. And to anyone in our European audience, just remember, you're only allowed 3.4 ounces through the airport. So if you want to bring branch through the airport, you need to get the sample size instead of the full bottle.
Which, speaking of solving a problem, actually they came up with different sizes of packets.
Did they?
So that way Europeans could fly with them versus buying the liquids. And Hidden Valley was coming up with all these different products on this fly, basically, because great marketing.
Right.
And it's a great story.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. All the ranch being taken away at TSA.
Yes, absolutely.
And what's one social media trend that you wish would just disappear?
I think clickbait. I know we were talking earlier about you want that initial hook, but sometimes when the initial hook then brings you in an entirely different direction of what it is, it's just a waste of everyone's time. And you're looking specifically for clicks. And I realize sometimes we use social media as an escape, gives us something to be able to do.
Yeah.
But try to bring value in what you're doing. Don't just try to get people to look at your videos and then not bring any sort of value to them. It's just unfortunate to waste everyone's time, to be really honest.
And I mean, especially in your industry, it's not a matter that's a joke. So if someone was putting out, this product will, save your pet from cancer. First of all, that's a lie. That's all very clickbait and it's just cruel. And I think I see a lot of that, even with content creators. They'll say, this is the top thing you need to do. They'll go through a whole video and then never put that top thing on purpose. And it's just a waste of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess people are more mad. They don't trust you anymore.
Exactly. You can build a much better audience by bringing the education
and the value
compared to just trying to click match.
Shock them. Exactly. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. We're going to link your LinkedIn on the show notes so everyone can connect with you. And anything else we should include so people can stay in touch?
No, I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, on today's social media landscape, the brands that educate are often the brands that win. Whether you're a marketer, entrepreneur, or business leader, providing value before asking for anything in return is one of the most powerful ways to build trust and grow an audience. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of You Heard It Here. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode. Thanks again.
Thanks for having me, Kassie.